Hello and welcome to Let's Animate. Today we're going to take a look at this Subnautica wallpaper I made on Wallpaper Engine. As you can see here, I've added more effects than the last one, so it may look a bit more complicated, but it's not, don't worry. So let's get into it actually. I'll focus on these effects because they look complicated at first, or they may look complicated, but it's just the same one added over and over again. So as you can see, it's just a flame. The opacity was lowered and I added them on these heat points, or whatever you want to call them, and so it just adds to the crash to make the scene more dramatic, I guess. And same for the embers, very small embers going here. Maybe this one is going too high, so I might just reduce the lifetime even more. Okay, so that's it for these effects. Then I just added some smoke here. I reduced the lifetime for this one so that it stops around here. And yeah, it's pretty simple again. I just lowered the opacity and make sure to have a very slow playback rate because it's supposed to be really far away. Hang on, let's choose. Yes, this one. So if the playback rate was like this, like, it really doesn't make sense because the scene is really far. So I lowered it to 0.1 or something. And yeah, that's it for the very basic effects. Now let's move on to the pod. Well, not the pod, but the actual background. So the first thing is obviously to add some water waves. And this is fairly simple. I just added the water ripple effect. The main focus of this episode is going to be the masks, because they're really important. So as you can see, I just painted around the pod, and yeah, just going around with the water. It doesn't really have to be precise since the effect is really subtle, but you really have to take your time to make sure you don't go on the pod and it doesn't look weird on the edges. Same for the guy or whatever your subject is. But yeah, that's pretty simple. Then I'll stay on the pod for now. I added some highlights with a pulse effect. Let's see it. So yeah, just pulse. I added some noise to make it a bit more random. So I just used yet another opacity mask and painted on these lines, these circles. It's really tedious, but it does the job. And yeah, it just blinks. And then for the pod, last effect was the shake, or is the shake. So the mask is kind of the opposite of the water. It has to be very precise again. I even added the water here to make it look less weird, I guess. Same on the dude, has to be really precise. Even made sure that the light isn't moving. So you really have to take your time. It's probably the most tedious process, and most time-consuming one, but once you get it done, it looks decent. And I think that's it for the pod, actually. So now let's move on to the Aurora. So what effects did I add? I added a pulse on these lights because I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be. Maybe windows, lights, or futuristic glow, I don't know. But I thought it would be a cool idea to make a pulse. So that's what I did. And guess what? We're just using precise masks again. So I added 3 of them. I have 3 different masks with very precise selections. Then again, so you have to take a small brush and paint over what you want to see glow or pulse in this situation. And then I did pretty much the same as the pod. I increased the speed and added some noise and yeah, just tweaked it. And so now the ship kind of glows. Like, yeah, as you can see here, it's really making it come to life. And I did the same with this one. I think it's called Aurora Front. Yep. It's the exact same thing, just a precise mask. I'm not gonna show you again because it's pointless. We'll skip those 2. And then let's go to the nitro effect. I had a lot of fun with this one because it adds a lot. Yeah, I didn't think it would make such a difference, But yeah, it's really cool to have this nitro effect on the thingies, the lights. And so that's very simple. Actually it's the exact same mask I used for the pulse. So the way you do it is either you open your opacity mask here and select it somewhere. You have to either you find it by double clicking and just guessing, or you export your previous pulse mask with this arrow and then import it with this one, or maybe the other way around. But yeah, it's really simple. So yeah, I added 3 nitro effects, 2 for this part and 1 for this one. Then I added some heat effect for the destroyed parts, like where there's fire, basically. So then again, it's really down to this opacity mask. I also added some heat distortion around the thrusters, because maybe the ship just crashed and they're still hot, so it's just fire inside. I thought it would make sense, so I put some here. And there's also smoke, so yeah. That's it for the heat effects, and it's the same technique as we used last time. It's the water ripple, very slow and very small, and yeah, makes some heat distortion. And then there's this a bit of a weird effect I tried to create with the nitro. You know when you have some water, some light going underwater, and then it's being refracted on underneath an object. It's really hard to explain, but you'll probably have an image or a video on screen. So I tried to recreate that effect here with the nitro. So I just put it really slow. I'm not really sure what these sliders each do, but I managed to get it really slow like that. So it's just an experiment. Also, it's really far away, so it shouldn't be visible. But I made it here because, well, in the game the pod is right above the shallows, the safe shallows. So it kind of makes sense that the water would be bouncing off the surfaces below and then being refracted here. Maybe. I don't know, it was just an experiment, but I think it's a cool idea. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the background, actually. I also have those Reaper shadow and movement. I tried to make this area look dangerous with some shadow and some movement with the water flow, but it doesn't really work. So I added the Leviathan somewhere else. You'll see. You probably have seen it already, actually. It's just right here. I know it doesn't make sense to have a Leviathan here in the shallows, but I thought it would be a cool idea. So how did I do that? It's very simple. I just took a PNG file, put it there, and hang on, let's just remove those. So I made it go left, right, and up and down, very slow. It's very simple. You just add a shake direction with the shake effect and paint over it, and yeah, you make it move how you want. And then the water waves effect, very subtle, so to make it look like it's underwater. And then I just lowered the opacity to blend it better. However, as you can see, there are some very highlighted edges. It doesn't really make sense underwater to have such a highlight. So what I did here is kind of I think it's a really smart way to do it. I used the edges detection effect to remove that. So basically we're trying to suppress the highlights on the edges, so I just detect the edges with the effect. And then the Reaper Shark, played too much Terraria. The Leviathan, god damn it. The Reaper Leviathan, no wait, what is it called? Yeah, the Reaper Leviathan, jeez. It looks like this, black and white. I'm gonna put the opacity up. So it looks like this, and that's not what we want. So there's a cool blend mode called Subtract, and I hope I can explain it well. If I'm not wrong, basically, that's weird. If I'm not mistaken, basically by using the Subtract mode, it will basically tell the software that all the white areas are not to be affected, but the black ones will be affected. So if I do this, and then you can see that the edges are very well, much less visible than they were before. Let's see. So without the effect it looks like this, and with the effect it looks like that. Also, it's kind of like the posterize effect on Photoshop. And then by lowering the opacity it kind of blends in. So that's a nice trick. And actually that's pretty much it for the whole environment. These effects are kind of pointless, just some particle systems. And there's one last effect I'd like to show you. Is this tiny Leviathan jumping off the water here, off the background. And this is actually a particle system, wait, a custom one, just throwing the Leviathan to the left and yeah, making it affected by gravity. It's really simple and it's kind of silly even. But we're not going to go into detail with the particle system this time because we'll probably do it next time, as each episode is supposed to be a bit more advanced than the other one with the effects. Maybe we'll do some Photoshop next time as well, so I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much what I added for this one. Then again, it's just simple effects, but when you add them together, like the smoke, the embers, the balls, it really adds up, and I think it looks cool. So yeah, I hope you learned some new things, new techniques with the masks, the balls, that you got new ideas basically. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.